Moving on to the next subchapter, which is research design. What is research design? Research design is a framework or blueprint for conducting a research project. It is a master plan to be followed to answer research objectives, research questions, research hypotheses, methods, and procedures to collect and analyze data. Must consider the type of data required, the design techniques such as survey, observation, experiment, and etc., the sampling methodology and procedures, the schedule, and the budget. And different research may require different types of research design. Criteria for selecting a research approach. If the problem calls for the identification of factors that influence an outcome, or the utility of an intervention, understanding the best predictors or outcomes, or to test a theory or explanation, then use a quantitative research approach. If a concept or phenomenon needs to be understood because little research has been done or the topic has not been addressed with certain sample or group of people, or the researcher wants to explore the possible variables to examine, then the appropriate approach is a qualitative research approach. If either the quantitative or qualitative approach by itself is inadequate to best understand a research problem, or the strengths of both methods provide the best understanding, then it is useful to use a mixed method research approach. Criteria for selecting a research approach based on the researcher's personal experiences, trainings, and strengths. If the researcher enjoys scientific writing, statistic, or quantitative journals, then it is appropriate to use quantitative research approach. Meanwhile, if the researcher enjoys writing in literary way, conducting interviews and observation, then it is recommended to employ qualitative research approach. And if the researcher have time and resources to collect both quantitative and qualitative data and enjoy both the structure of quantitative research and the flexibility of qualitative research, then it is advised to use mixed method research approach. These are the three types of research design. The first one is quantitative. It collects and analyzes numerical data. It uses deductive approach. It examines causes and effects among variables, hard facts and statistical analysis, and is suitable for large sample size, and results are generalizable and conclusive. Second is qualitative. It collects and analyzes narrative or verbal data. It uses inductive approach. It involves holistic inquiry, explore and discover ideas. It deals with social phenomena such as opinions, behavior, experience, and etc. And it is proper for the small sample size, and results are less generalizable. And the third is mixed. It combines both quantitative and qualitative forms to strengthen the interpretation of the research. Cross-sectional strategy. This strategy is used to observe phenomena, an individual or a group of research subjects at a given time. Data collected in a single time period, one shot, for example, over a period of days, weeks, months, or years. It gives a good overall picture of the position at a given time and can cover many variables of interest. For example, a company do a survey on the customer's interest in a new product before launching the product. This is to assess the customer's likely demand on the product. Longitudinal strategy. It involves data collection at multiple points in time, such as same event, individual or group over a defined period of time. It aims to track changes in a number of variables and see how they evolve over time. Longitudinal studies may take the form of trend study by looking at population characteristic over time, or cohort study, traces a subpopulation over time, or panel study, traces the same sample over time. For examples, a marketing manager do a survey to know the trend of sales in the 4 different regions of the country on a quarterly basis for the next 2 years. Second example, The management want to assess the effectiveness of the on-the-job training provided to employees. It may involve 2 time intervals before and after attending the training. The experimental strategy. First, manipulation. It seeks to determine if a specific treatment, SIV, influences an outcome, STV. It measures the effect of IV on DV, cause and effect relationship, while controlling other factors. Second is randomization, random assignment of subjects to treatment conditions. For example, randomized controlled trial studies for measuring the effectiveness of new pharmaceutical drugs on human subjects. Quasi-experimental strategy. This strategy conducted when the researcher cannot manipulate an independent variable due to ethical or practical reasons, but still wants to investigate the relationship between variables. Lack of random assignment. The respondents are pre-assigned, no random assignment, to groups based on some characteristics or quality these people bring to the study. For example, gender differences, age group, and economic status. The actual research takes place after the assignment of groups. The researcher has a degree of control over the cause of whatever effects are being examined. For example, the impact of an educational intervention in a specific school by comparing the performance of students in that school before and after the intervention. Since the researcher did not randomly assign students to receive or not receive the intervention, it is considered quasi-experimental. Ethnography strategy. It is a research done on an intact cultural phenomenon, for example, behavior, beliefs, language, interactions, in a natural setting. Data is collected over a prolonged period of time, between 1 to 3 weeks, in a real environment, observation and interview. The process is flexible and it involves the live realities without disruptions accounted in the field setting. For example, to study the culture in a company. Grounded theory strategy. The researcher derives a general, abstract theory of a process, action, or interaction grounded in the views of participants. The process involves using multiple stages of data collection and the refinement and interrelationship of categories of information. 2 primary characteristics. First, constant comparison between data and concepts, for example, similarities and differences, and between concepts. Second characteristic, theoretical sampling of different groups to maximize the similarities and the differences of information until theoretical saturation has been reached. Case study strategy is a strategy to examine a phenomenon within its context, a program, event, activity, process, or company. Cases are bounded by time and activity, and researchers collect detailed information using a variety of data collection procedure over a sustained period of time. It works well with exploratory, descriptive, and explanatory studies. It has 2 types. First, holistic, examine case as a whole. Second is embedded, it examines just some aspects of case. Phenomenological research strategy is when the researcher identifies the essence of human experiences about a phenomenon as described by participants. For example, children with autism getting Dean List. The procedure involves studying a small number of subjects through extensive, long in-depth interviews, and prolonged engagement to develop patterns and relationships of meaning. This strategy is looking for the universal nature of an experience. Narrative research strategy. The researcher studies the lives of individuals and asks one or more individuals to provide stories about their lives. The information is then retold by the researcher into a narrative chronology. Mixed research approach. The first strategy is sequential mixed method, where the researcher seeks to elaborate on the findings of one method with another method. It may begin with a qualitative interview for exploratory purposes and follow up with a quantitative survey method. Alternatively, it may begin with a quantitative method in which a theory or concept is tested and followed up with a qualitative method that involves detailed exploration with few cases or individuals. Second strategy is concurrent mixed method, where the researcher converge quantitative and qualitative data in order to provide a comprehensive analysis of the research problem. The researcher collects both forms of data at the same time and then integrates the information in the interpretation of the overall result. Using research design in choosing the appropriate research method. Once you have a clear research design in place, you can make an informed decision about which research method best suits your study. The research method you select should align with your research design, objectives, and data requirements, ensuring that you can answer your research questions or test your hypothesis effectively.